Hello, everybody. I'm Kipp Snow. I'm the director of the Transportation Distribution Logistics Institute at the Community College of Baltimore County.
Hey, everybody. Mike Singer, community manager for the Baltimore and Chesapeake Bay Shipwatchers, and welcome to the Shipwatchers podcast. How the heck are you this morning?
I'm all right.
Yeah?
We got your coffee. We had our morning workout and
Morning workout?
today. Yeah, morning port workings.
Oh.
Research.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like lifting weights or something.
I was lucky to get a roll out of the bed this morning. Yep.
Did you do the whole Wile E. Coyote, hit the roller skate, coffee pour down your throat, toast as you bounce out the door? No, okay.
No, I really did do the Uncle Buck reference that I discussed earlier where
Oh, right.
Hacking up a lung and coughing and trying to wake up in a stupor.
Somebody on the other side of the house is, what the heck is going on over there?
It's all good.
So, as a reminder, if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, or hit the bell to be alerted to new podcasts as they come available.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get into our shipping update this week.
Sure. So, I guess eventually we're going to just stop saying this. So, 5th week since the strike. So, that's kind of interesting. Kind of puts a... because you kind of lose sight of how far out you are from, because that was a big deal.
Yeah. It seems just like yesterday, but the time's going by pretty quickly.
Yeah. So, so what we talk about is truck transactions. It's the metric that Ports America, Seagirt, where the containers come in, that they track every week, and they track it daily. So then we take, the number, how many truck transactions they do a day, and we average it out to a daily average per week. So the last 4 weeks is 3,084, 3,335, 3,045, and then this past week, 3,371. And that 3,371 is because, so this is from a Port of Baltimore Facebook post. We continue to make progress in our recovery. Earlier this Thursday, our Seagirt terminal handled 3,677 trucks, the most since the Key Bridge incident. It was actually 3,678 and 3,646 on Wednesday. So,
wow,
two pretty good peak days this week. And there was, one of the Suez Max 365 by 51, one of the unbranded T-class evergreen ships that we've talked about, was in town with, a whole bunch of containers. They also handled 32% more cars in September than last year, which that is interesting because, there are a lot of sources on social media and, a lot of folks that work at the port do participate. And I've seen, now maybe not recently, maybe not in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but I have seen, because we're promoting the port.
Sure.
We're trying to keep most things positive. We want to talk about recovery and the good stuff that's happening. And so the Port of Baltimore does the same, right? They talk about their accomplishments and highlights. And then, you'll see every once in a while somebody on the, down the bottom is, well, hey, it's not as good as it was before, or people don't have as many hours as they had before. So this is really good to me to see that 32% more cars in September. That's a lot. As the number one auto importer in the U.S. 13 years running,
Right.
that you 32% more than previous year.
Yep.
That seems really significant to me.
I agree.
Yeah. Now,
It
I
would,
wish that, remember we went over that giant state spreadsheet
yeah,
thing that's online. I mean, and I'm not faulting anybody. I was just, it'd be really cool if that thing could be updated sooner and we could,
sure.
because by the time you get to it, the data, it's 2 months old, and I don't know. Maybe we could find a way to incorporate that.
I think, I mean, at minimum, I think we can still incorporate some of that data because the truck transactions is a great metric, and especially
Mm-hmm.
when you're starting to see in social media some of the posts about from the truck driver side of the supply chain. Hey, look,
Right.
we're we've got some traffic or congestion related issues with the the trucks trying to get in and out of the terminal. But
Which I think was,
it's not just the truck transactions. Those metrics are the ones that we should be looking at. We should look at everything, and there are some metrics in bulk and break bulk freight. In
mm-hmm.
what's happening with the the ro import exports. I think that if there's something we can put together to kind of showcase that, to put everything together to paint what that full picture is of all of the efforts,
Mm-hmm.
within the labor and operations at the port.
Right. And there are what, 20, 25 columns, 30 columns
Yeah,
to that report, to that spreadsheet. So in our spare time, Kip,
I know.
yeah,
Let's see if we can.
yeah, it's like you and I need to go through there and spend, I don't know, some time and go, okay, which one of these columns, and then maybe we would talk about, you know,
What the commodity
let's
is?
hit the third, fifth, and
Yeah.
10th column. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, understanding what the commodity is, who the port entities are that have interactions with them.
Mm-hmm.
Even to drill down to the point of, hey, look, for every ship that comes in here, the pilots have to be involved in every ship that comes in. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's not just the container ships. It's every it's all some of your bulk commodities and bulk liquids, and you got to have that kind of interconnectivity there.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting all the different things that come in, and there's still so much. Even though I pay attention to this stuff every day, there's still some interesting things that come through the port, or that you see. So I mean, different ships, um, and different. What's the word? Vehicles? Is that the word?
Sure.
That you would see different types. Let me just highlight a couple just off top of head, since so there was a small container ship that came to town this
Hmm.
week. It's 632 TEUs.
Really?
So I think very small ship, very
Hmm.
small ship. Um, and I think it had, I don't know, 11 imports. Okay.
Hmm.
It was actually on the schedule, right?
Okay.
On the Ports America schedule that I talk about almost every week. The really interesting thing is that is smaller than the 900 TEU barge that goes right. Now you're getting it, right? From Philly to
Philly.
Norfolk to Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
that runs the Jones Act barge that runs on the McAllister Sisters
Mm-hmm.
tug,
Right.
right? That operates 24/7. So that ship, even though it's a ship, is smaller
Hmm.
than than the max capacity. The max capacity of that ship in TEUs is 30% smaller than the max capacity of that barge.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And this is one of my one of the cam chatters, where that's another
Hmm.
community that I'm involved with, and they pull up some
Interesting
they
data
come
and
up with some
stats.
interesting tidbits.
What you don't happen to know like who the ship was or what their route was?
It was a BBC ship. It was a small I think it's basically a bulker. I don't think
Okay.
it's. I don't know if it's actually a container ship or not. And then, the other thing to think about is if you're passionate about ships and you're watching it come in and out, and you're doing it on the live stream camera, or you're doing it in marine traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the classifications in marine traffic are
Ah.
not exactly correct.
Okay.
So you can't take, you'll pull up the ship, but you can't exactly take that word for word for the
Understood.
classification that's
Gotcha.
in there, because sometimes it's just off. Anyway, so while we're paying attention to different things, not Wallenius Wilhelmsen, and so we talked about this before. What did you, episode 16?
That's right.
The Wallenius Marine Future Way. Future Way is the name of the ship. Made a stop at Trade Point Atlantic, and like I was just saying, I pay attention to stuff every day, and I must have been really busy with work and the grandbaby, or maybe doing yard work, and I almost missed it, because
Sure.
it's pretty unusual. You
Mhm.
don't see Wallenius Wilhelmsen ships going to Trade Point Atlantic.
Right.
They go to Dundalk Marine Terminal, and if you're watching on the camera, they're out on the end. So you see that A pier that's left from the Key Bridge, and kind of
Mhm.
right behind it, out on the end, kind of parallel to the channel,
Okay.
is the two berths that the Wallenius Wilhelmsen rows use.
Okay.
But they typically don't go to Trade Point. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I did put in a question to Kristen,
Hmm.
and just to see, hey, is that, do they have regular cargo or a regular brand? Because I think they've only been there 2 or 3 times.
So
Just curious.
yeah, this is back in episode 16. We talked a little bit about it, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that it's gotten a little bit more familiarity or pressers with their operation. This is an agreement between Wallenius Wilhelmsen Solutions (WWS) and
Mm-hmm.
Volkswagen, and so
Oh,
yeah, so down there, Trade Point Atlantic, Volkswagen has their import and
so it so it
export
so it
processing
is
facility.
Volkswagen.
Yeah,
So the ship is part of is
well,
because this is a
the ship is part of Wallenius Wilhelmsen's global operations.
right,
They are. This is actually a new style ship. This is
right.
um,
Yeah, tell us a little bit about
yeah,
its.
absolutely. So this ship was designed to reduce environmental footprint,
Hmm.
so that there's no need to carry any ballast water when fully loaded. So the ship design is made so that it takes advantage of, I guess, a natural construction or natural operations.
Hmm.
Um, so
Did,
if you don't have to take on ballast water in another port, and that means you don't have to discharge that water in a completely different port and get it treated, or have to deal with invasive species or any of that kind of
hmm.
related issues. The vessel is 200 meters long, 37 meters wide. It was powered by a dual fuel main engine, and features an aerodynamically optimized bow that reduces wind resistance. And so
Hmm.
you think a lot about water resistance for a ship, but for a lot of these ro ships,
They're
they are,
huge, boxy.
and that's still going to have some aerodynamic drag. So they've redesigned the front end of this thing, so you don't have to
Hmm.
use as much energy to power the thing.
That's
It's got a
interesting.
center ramp to allow for efficient cargo handling and height restrictions, and so
Hmm.
it gives them a lot more flexibility to be able to come along a dock or wharf to be able to discharge or accept freight. Um, and so it's and the ship on the inside's been optimized for the intended products of the trade. So it's all of those vehicles and that they're going to be transporting. So it's a specialized ro ship, and it's got some and environmental design improvements over everything else that's out there.
So here, let's take yeah, it's calling audible. I went ahead and pulled up a picture real quick off the
Sure.
internet.
There you go. It's a sharp
So
looking ship.
yeah, and I'm not an expert. It doesn't look that much different to me. The
Well,
what
I
I
think if you look at the way that and again, I'm not engineer,
Right.
I'm more supply chain
Hmm.
focused, but if you, when you, as you're scrolling in, you could see that the bow is kind of incaved some. And so it's got kind of a
It's like a
textured indentation to allow for that.
almost like a dreadnought. It has looks like it has a forward, that lower part. Is
Hmm.
that what I'm seeing?
It's
And
kind
I
of, look,
know that they've added these this angle on top to help vision
with the
on some of
airflow over
them.
top. Yeah.
Right. Hmm. And all these vents are something that's different that I don't recall seeing. Maybe that's because, a lot of times you'll see on the Ro-Ros, there are these giant boxes.
Hmm.
There's all these boxes on top. And those are, the venting for the exhaust for the cars.
Yeah, there's a significant amount of exhaust systems in those things.
Right. So maybe they've integrated it into the hull instead of having all these little boxes, right? I mean, it's got to add some wind resistance. I mean,
Right.
if you're trying to get every little bit
Hmm.
of efficiency that you can. So maybe that's what we're seeing here.
We had some other ships come in this week
Yeah.
that were
So in the fall to the spring is when I've noticed we get some, and I'll call them one-offs.
hmm.
So we have the Carnival Pride, and
This is from the cruise, this is from the cruise side of things.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Yes. And the and Royal Caribbean is here every week. Carnival Pride, Royal Caribbean are here every week. And then we get these one-off like long cruises that I don't know. They come down the coast or whatever they're doing, and they'll stop off in Baltimore.
Hmm.
And every once in a while, we'll catch some reports on social media about what the tours were.
Oh,
We went. I think probably most of them go to DC because if you're a cruise passenger and you're coming, you know, you probably want to see DC more than you do Baltimore because of
sure.
the historical. But sometimes they'll do Baltimore history tours and such. So
Hmm.
it
Okay.
is kind of interesting to see that. But so yes, the Azamar Journey cruise ship came to Baltimore this week. The Port of Baltimore proudly welcomed the beautiful and luxurious Azamara journey on its 13-day cruise from Quebec to Miami, and just a
Up and
port call stop on the way.
up and down the East Coast then.
I think, or just
Yeah, so
down, but yeah.
just straight down. Yeah.
So it's always neat to see. And then I wish we would have got a video of it because it left during the night and it was all lit up. So I wish we would have been able to get a video of that. And
Sure.
we have a whole team of folks, right? So we've got the live stream camera,
Yeah.
and a lot of those folks that help run the cameras are volunteers. It's Stream Time Live that runs the cameras, and then all those people are basically volunteers for Stream Time Live, and you can put in a request through an app and say, "Hey, can somebody grab a video of this ship?"
Mm,
And they'll put the Stream Time Live splash on the front of it, and maybe
sure.
put some music on it, and then speed it up to like 3 times speed or something, and then make a video and then post it to like YouTube or something. Actually, they did one for Carnival Pride this week.
Oh, okay.
So that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
But to see something different come in, that would have been cool to have that. Maybe next time.
Mm.
So we seem to see more of these unusual one-offs, I think, when I notice them. September to April or something. They
Okay.
seem to come through more for some reason. You got some information about
Yeah, a little
the
bit.
ship or the company?
Yeah, a little bit. Asmara, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
is how it's said. It's
Mm-hmm.
So they're a cruise line that's based out of Miami, Florida, and they operate 4 cruise ships on worldwide itineraries. They were
It's
founded in
interesting.
2007, and after purchasing 2 R-class ships from Pullmantur Cruises, um, and so that's those 2 ships were the Asmara Quest and the Asmara Journey, which is the one that
Mm-hmm.
we had come to the port this week. So they make cruises to exotic locations, competing with similar luxury cruise lines like Oceania Cruises.
Hmm. Or
Yes,
maybe
I
Silver
thought,
Sea. You seen those commercials for Silver Sea?
yeah, I don't know if they're. I think it's similar to that. I
Maybe
thought it
they're
was interesting.
Europe.
They said exotic locations. I
Oh,
appreciate Baltimore, the Port of
yes.
Baltimore being identified as an exotic location.
Yeah, can we get that on tape or in
Yep.
writing? Oh, we have it on. Okay, yeah.
So this ship is an R class cruise ship. The gross tonnage is about 30,000, with a capacity of 694 passengers, and
Mm-hmm.
that's double occupancy plus 390 crew members. So
Hmm.
smaller operation, but
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
customized and it's geared towards those luxury cruise line
Exotic.
and visiting exotic locations like the Port of Baltimore.
And this, I probably shouldn't say this, and I love my city, but you should put that like on 295 as you're going. You're going past some trash and
Yeah,
exotic location. Welcome to Baltimore.
welcome to Baltimore. What's that? Oh, that's the smokestack where they burn all the trash.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So we had a guest speaker here
Mm-hmm.
previously from Sail Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Nan was on to talk about the port side party.
Yep.
That's coming up, isn't it?
Yes, it is. This Thursday, 6 to 9, at Bayside Canteen at Boston Street. So, how do we? Oh, so on salebaltimore.org, you can get your tickets. You can get your tickets there.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So, should be a good time.
I believe so. It's a good opportunity to get out and network and enjoy other port
Folks.
folks and people who enjoy the water. So this is a great opportunity to to get out and experience something, but also help the Sail Baltimore's initiatives to bring all of the maritime related ships and activities here to Baltimore. So that's a great opportunity for fundraising for Sail Baltimore.
Right, because remember when we had Nan on and I ran through all this stuff that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's great, Nan. Surely you must have a huge staff of paid people that get all that done.
No, she's doing it.
No.
Yeah,
She's it.
volunteers and her.
Right, right. So, yeah, if you love the tall ships, and I don't know anybody who doesn't, or if you love when military ships come to town,
Mm-hmm.
and when we have our fleet week every other year, um, basically, Sail Baltimore is at the center of making all that happen. So,
Correct.
if you love either one of those, consider attending the party. My wife and I plan to be there, so
Nice.
you want to hobnob with the Shipwatchers admin and podcast host? Now, I won't have
Come
my
see
head.
Mike.
Just saying, I won't have my headphones that night. Okay, so you won't
Maybe
recognize.
if you are you taking donations for autographs? So you got to have your Sharpie there to.
No, well, I can't. The focus needs to be on Sail Baltimore then. But and another idea is, okay, let's say it's short notice. Let's say you didn't know about this. Let's say Thursday isn't a good day. Whatever your reason is, you can still donate to Sail Baltimore. You can still go to sailbaltimore.org and make a donation.
That is correct.
And if you really love it, maybe you could make a recurring donation,
Mm-hmm.
which I have done to um, several different maritime groups here in town uh, previously. So, if you're the kind of person that likes to make donations on the regular, here's another consideration.
Sure.
Yeah. So as we're coming up on this week, and it's happening this Thursday, we wanted to give them a shout
Give them a
out.
little plug. Sure.
Yeah,
That's
on
great.
that. Mm-hmm.
Elsewhere for port related things, where in the world is the Dolly today?
Where in the world is Dolly?
Yeah.
So let's get into that. So here is marine traffic, and it just kind of starts off like here in our port, right? So it's a good place to start. So what's going on here at Trade Point Atlantic? Who's over here? Oh, the SFL conductor. So that's Burkett. Is that a bulker? Yeah, that's a bulker. So you see how you can, if you want to know what's going on with the port, I mean, I would love for you to pay attention to the podcast.
Exactly.
But you don't have to wait for the podcast. You can always go to Marine Traffic and check it out yourself. So you can move around here. So, what do we have over here? Did you know that this is where the cruise terminal is? Over here by the 95 tunnel.
That's right.
And Vision of the Seas is in town, which is typical for a Saturday.
Saturday morning, correct.
Mm-hmm. And she'll leave today around why I can't. Okay. She'll leave today around 3. So if you want to watch her leave on the live stream camera.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see where Dolly is. Way over here somewhere. Making her way, and I keep hearing from because like I said, the camera chatters just love to follow the ship. They're fascinated by what's going on, and so I see daily updates about what this ship is doing, and like they thought it was out there doing, just seemed like it wasn't heading straight for a port, and maybe it was trying to avoid there's some storms over here or something. And remember, it's super lightweight. This thing has nothing on it. Mm-hmm. It's probably the lightest you'll ever see a container ship because it has 0 containers on it.
So that probably does present some challenges with navigation.
Right. And I think Sal Mercogliano said, this is not going to be a pleasant ride because you're so buoyant, I guess. And so, center of gravity, right? So you're way up here. If you're used to being in the water this much, and now you're twice as high as any effects on the ship.
Yeah. You start rolling.
You're going to feel a lot more up here in crew accommodation, so let's see where she is. So still, and then so if we click on it real quick, click on it again, it says it's due in
on the 13th.
On the 13th, so another 4 days to go. And I don't know where that town, up here.
So is
that the same name? I don't know. Maybe that's not the same name. There are so many, when you think about China, there are so many cities you've never heard of that have millions of people.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing to think about. Because we know where all our big cities are,
Right.
right? And these are all in a different language. And how many people are 15 million people in a city I've never heard?
Right.
It's quite fascinating. Anyway, so making her way to the China coast here for refitting, repair,
Hmm.
and supposedly 4 days out if this is accurate.
I'll be curious to see if that gets adjusted a little bit.
Yeah. Do you remember what did we cover it last week or was it the week before?
What's that? The
Oh, when we looked up the Dolly and it said how long it was
uh,
till
yeah,
till it
I
was
think it was
expected to be in port.
two episodes ago that we looked at it, but it's
What was it, like 6 days then?
yeah.
Um,
It, it, I think that there are some adjustments
oh, sure. I mean, that
with the
happens
scheduling and not
all
knowing
the
what the
time.
repair process is going to be, and is the is their facility ready to accept it and all of those
Now,
kinds.
supposedly, one of our camera chatters was saying that, and I can't remember which ship it is, but he spit out the name so many times I should have it memorized. But there was a ship. Was it one? Was it? I don't think it was the one from the Suez Canal, but some ship had significant bow damage,
Mm,
and they basically had a bow ready to
to
go.
go cut it off and just drop the new one
Cut it
in.
off, drop it into place, weld it, connect everything back up, weld it, paint it, connect up all the systems, do some testing, away you go.
Mm-hmm.
Because these ships are hundreds of millions of dollars. So they're not going to total it. It's what, maybe
Right.
10, 15 years old or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the relatively newer builds, right? So let me just pull that back up for the heck of it,
I
if you
wonder
don't
how
mind.
much that all makes sense to me, and I would not be
Mm
surprised if they did something like that for the dolly.
hmm.
Just
Mm hmm.
have it ready to go, cut it off, drop it in. I also wonder about the whole electrical system side of things and what repairs may need to be made for that.
Mm hmm. So I'm trying to find. So this is just my little thing that drives me nuts. So you're on marine traffic. There's a picture. You click on it. Why doesn't it take you to that picture?
Oh, got to go find it.
But
Yeah.
see, this is one of the newer builds, relatively, right? Because you can see how the accommodation is forward,
Mm-hmm.
right? The older ships, the accommodation and the exhaust stack was combined in about this area, like
Mm-hmm.
2/3 aft, right? And so, because the ships are getting so big and they stack containers so high, that they've moved the accommodation up front, I think, to help visibility. So, this isn't an old ship in any way.
Sure.
And to me, one of the indicators is, when you move the accommodation forward and you have this separate from the exhaust stack, that's a pretty quick and easy indication of, a relatively newer ship.
Sure. Okay.
So,
Alrighty.
what else we got?
I got some. There was an announcement this week from the Army Corps of Engineers.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Baltimore District of the Army Corps of Engineers awarded a $33.5 million contract to Curtin Marine Corporation of Long Beach
Mm-hmm.
for Baltimore Harbor and Channels maintenance dredging for the fiscal year of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And so this project consists of dredging about 2.3 million cubic yards of material from the federal navigation channels in Maryland associated with the Baltimore Harbor. So this is everything from the Key Bridge up, or is it the Bay Bridge?
The write up that I saw talks about that it's like exclusively Craig Hill.
Oh, okay. So this is the channel. So the Craig Hill Channel is between the Bay Bridge and the Key Bridge site. Okay,
Right.
and that's what you have up here on the screen here.
Right.
Is this the same channel that the Evergreen ship got stuck in?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
so that
And
Is this in response to that, or is this part? Do
Oh,
you
I
think
don't
this
think
is
so.
part of the natural progression of dredging this particular channel?
Yeah, I think this is, and I think we dredge like about every other winter, and it's
Mm-hmm.
almost always in winter, and it's almost always Cashman dredging who, I think they're stationed in Curtis Creek.
Okay.
So I mean, ever since the camera's been up, we've been watching the same dredge, and they were on site for the key bridge work,
Oh, okay. So
because
they're also familiar with it with our area then, and what needs to happen.
yes, the interesting thing is that this was awarded to a different company this time,
Right.
which is unusual. But
Okay.
um, and then of course somebody was online. Why can't they give it to local contractors that put look? Of course, we want to support local people, but maybe that company is busy. Maybe they have another contract
They
that
may not
made
have
them
bid.
more money than this, federal dredging contract that they have like every winter or every other winter.
Right.
And I think they kind of alternate. Like they can't do all the channels into Baltimore
All at once.
all at one. So let me just try to zoom out here. And I don't like it because the detail disappears as you zoom out. But basically, okay, so here's the Bay Bridge down here. And so we're talking about this channel that starts just north of the Bay Bridge. This is all Craig Hill. This is called Craig Hill Entrance. And then it turns due north. Remember, we talked about range lights
Yep. Mm-hmm.
before. So here are the two range lights that you see when you're going due north
Mm-hmm.
in Craig Hill, on your way into. Then it makes a left, and then there are these two other range lights. So the write up that I saw details this Craig Hill entrance, and it talks about I don't know, Craig Hill entrance channel. See each one of these angles. Can you kind of see how they? You kind of see how after a while they said, okay, let's kind of cut off these
Smooth it
corners and
out.
make it easier for the ships to make these turns. And each one of these angles or cutoffs has a name, um, and they were all listed in the. Okay, so here's the Craig Hill angle. So they're doing that. The upper range,
Mm.
right? So that's the name of this turn. This okay. And then let's see if this one, and then the cutoff angle,
Gotcha.
right? And then so this channel that runs this way is called Brewerton. So it's Craig Hill, Brewerton, Fort McHenry as you're transitioning into Baltimore. Yes, so it's these channels from the Bay Bridge north until they hit this channel that you can kind of see here on an angle
Sure.
going into Baltimore. So basically, all of Craig Hill
Okay.
is what they'll be doing. And when they get up here in the angle, we'll be able to watch them work
Oh, okay.
on the camera. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah.
So all of this, this dredging project is like kind of what you said. We're continuously having to dredge,
Mm-hmm.
but to ensure the safe navigation of vessels coming in and out of the port.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, we've got some examples where this is really important for us to keep after. All of this dredge material will be removed by a hybrid-powered clamshell dredge transported by barge to the respective placement sites that have been named. The removal consists of the material consists of primarily mud, silt, sand, shell, and other mixtures of natural products down below.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that
and
was
I think this one is going south.
okay.
Because remember we have, and here I'll just zoom out here. Let me. Um, so See how you lose the detail? I don't like
Yeah, I
this.
see that. Yeah.
So we have a dredge containment site here, then this little bump here, and then there's this one up in here, right across from the cruise terminal,
Okay.
by the Fairfield Railroad docks here. Um, but those are very limited. They're very small, relatively, and so once you get past a certain point, the dredge goes south in the bay,
Hmm.
because we have much larger facilities further south.
Makes sense.
Um, so I think they limit what dredge spoil can go into these two
Containment
locations to
facilities.
things that are very local,
Sure. Okay.
not to be confused with the very local app and very local channel
There
on
you go.
channel 11.
There you go.
Yeah.
Any key bridge updates?
Well, I did want to talk about that in that there are no key bridge updates.
Okay.
Just because people are curious,
Well, that's
everybody, you see people say, why the heck, how the heck are this thing going to be done by 28? And now we're coming up on the end of 24.
mm-hmm.
So now we're getting under 4 years to build an entire bridge, right? And people are just curious, hey, how the heck can you get this done?
Sure.
Folks can see, local folks can see, or you can see on the camera that, what's left of the key bridge is still there, and there's not even any cranes nearby or any equipment to start. So I did contact one of my engineering friends who is locally involved in such projects when they come around,
Sure.
and he has heard no news.
Okay.
So anxiously awaiting. And I'm telling you, when these camera chatters, they'll see the cranes coming from out in the ocean. They'll be like, "Hey, I think it's starting soon. I see this thing coming." And they'll have it down, man.
We'll know way
We'll
ahead of
know
time.
before probably anybody does
Put
a.
the press release out. Yeah. Okay.
So anything? What's happening in the port? Anything else?
Oh, just a couple of upcoming events. You already talked about the Sail
Portside party.
Baltimore Portside Party, November the 14th. So if you want to go participate in that, get Mike's autograph. Tickets. Go to Sail. It's not a it's the two separate. It's not a plug. Don't. Yeah.
It's not about me.
Yeah. Go to
I was
Sail
just
Baltimore.
thinking maybe it helps sell tickets. I mean, somebody wants
That's
to
what I'm
hang out.
saying. Is if you
Because,
get people.
we used to do, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. We used to do some meet and greets, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And, it's kind of fun to hang out with people,
Oh, absolutely.
we only have 16,000 members. I think I might know 100 or 200 of them if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So, it'd be cool to hang out.
Go to sailbaltimore.org. The Trade Point Atlantic annual star lighting is Tuesday, December the 3rd, 5 p.m. So it'll be dusk about that time. So those are the two events. We'll collect some more events. I know that there'll probably be some going into the first of the year and the holiday season.
Yeah, all kind of holiday and Christmas
maybe.
parties for the different organizations. So we should definitely.
There'll be some things that are.
When
going
is the
on
next meeting that you and I might attend?
The Baltimore Port Alliance
Yes.
General meeting is next Wednesday. I'm sorry, next Friday.
Oh.
Wow. The 15th, I believe. So that is coming up.
I know I have it on my calendar.
I also know that.
So we'll get a bunch of calendar ideas.
We'll get
the 15th. Yep, next Friday.
Up. The World Trade Center Institute's State of the Port address is coming up on November the 20th, and so we'll have some more information about that in our next podcast.
Okay, that sounds cool. I did see that. I think I saw an email on that, and you know how it is. You're busy and you're doing whatever normal life stuff. We're doing Shipwatcher stuff. You're doing college stuff. You know, I've got a grandkid. You got kids. We're both married. You know, we're both working our jobs. And you see this thing. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll look at that. Zip, and then you forget about it. And
Forget about it. Yeah.
so thanks for bringing that up because
So
I
that
probably.
so there are some things coming up.
Mm-hmm.
From the Port of Baltimore history perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I came across a nugget here on Wednesday, November the 19th, back in 1969.
Mm-hmm.
Helen Bentley was designated Woman of the Year by the Women's Advertising Club of Baltimore at a dinner in her honor.
Cool.
So I didn't even, and I know this is, a good bit of, into the past history, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a women's advertising club in
That's
Baltimore.
interesting.
I'm curious as to what that was. That sounds
Right. See, now you're going down a rabbit hole.
sure. Interestingly enough, this was the second time that the group had honored her, and she was first.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, I mean,
Sorry.
no, but rightfully so. But what
Oh,
I
yeah.
found what I found interesting was that the first time was in 1957, which was when in that time frame where she was doing all of the write ups for the Sun and the recordings for BAL.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, she was in 1969. She was chairman of the Maritime Commission, or chairwoman is how they would go in
Right. And there's
now.
an interesting little tidbit story behind that. Remember that one?
Yeah. But what was interesting, so where this was published was in some of the House of Representatives presentations from this particular day, which was November the 20th,
Mm-hmm.
1969.
Mm-hmm.
So the Honorable Edward Garmatz, who's Baltimore U.S. House of Representatives.
Isn't that who the federal courthouse is named after downtown?
Okay, there you go.
Right catacorner from the Baltimore Arena.
Mm-hmm. So he made this announcement that Helen Bentley was awarded, the night before on the Congress floor, but in the report listed her whole speech, and her whole speech to the Women's Advertising Club was a very pro political message of support and unity.
Mm.
Which was a little bit different than the traditional maritime
Mm-hmm.
maritime focus or maritime commission type speeches that she gave. So it was quite interesting to read through that speech as it was presented to the House of Representatives back in 1969.
Right. Sometimes things are sort of timeless, right?
That is correct.
Kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see, that award at this particular time and how that message was portrayed. So that was there is our history nugget for the
cool.
for the
That is
episode.
interesting.
You've got some really cool calendars that have
I do.
come in.
I do. So every year, the Baltimore and Chesapeake-based Shipwatchers come up with their own, wall calendars, right? Old school, so I use the calendar on my phone, but we also use, a wall calendar on, we have ours like on a magnet on the side of the fridge. Actually, these calendars are, they're a little heavy duty, right? So we need like 3 magnets to hold.
Oh yes, yeah. Exactly.
Like sliding down.
Slide down the refrigerator.
And one of our admins years ago said, you should do some calendars. And this guy, shout out Matt Abbott, has probably been involved with the Shipwatchers since year 1. And this guy, just about everything he suggested that I do, eventually I come around and go, that's a really good idea. And I wind up incorporating it. And I wind up being really bullheaded at first. No, I'm not doing that. No, I don't have time. No, I don't want to. And then I'm like, okay, that's a good idea. So the first calendar that we did, I forget, it was kind of late in the year, and he said, look, if you're going to do this, you have to do it now. And I don't know. I Googled, I think he does his own photo calendar that he gives out to friends, which is a very nice thing.
Sure.
And he said, oh, I use Vistaprint. And so I pulled a bunch of pictures off of Facebook, and the Baltimore Shipwatchers annual calendar was born. So here we are. I think this is our third or fourth. And what I wanted to do this year, everybody's so connected with the Key Bridge. And considering what happened this year, I thought basically you're getting a collection of Key Bridge photographs. So
cool.
Here's the cover photo. And then let me see if I can kind of go through some here.
Oh, you got some. Oh, wow. Look at that.
And then this one is the March photo by one of our best local photographers, Mark Hergen. This guy goes out and takes pictures that you and see how this he's got the A pillar, the dolly,
Perfectly
and then the
aligned
compression in the lens. He's got the city of Baltimore in the background. I mean, the eye that this guy has is pretty incredible. But I thought the dolly leaving on the month of the accident. Well, she didn't leave the month of the accident, but I thought it would be an appropriate picture for that month. This is was taken Maritime Day.
Okay.
So the Key Bridge, Fireboat, and Pride of Baltimore. This is the Colombian Navy tall ship.
Mm-hmm.
This is an older one. This is, I think, from like Fleet Week 2012. So Domino, Blue Angels, and the Key Bridge. There's a.
Is that July?
There's a. Yeah.
As you're chuckling, everybody's like, well, why did he say July? And he's laughing. That's the Francis Scott Key buoy that's out there next to the bridge. So.
That signifies where Francis Scott Key was on a British ship while he was negotiating the release of someone, and he had to stay on the ship because they were bombing Fort McHenry, and he basically had to watch them try to destroy his city, and wrote the Star Spangled Banner while he was on the ship. So, some pretty incredible history.
Sure. That's a cool ship with this or a cool picture with the sun behind it.
Yeah. Now this is from one of our retired pilots. Bill Band took this photo as he was navigating into the Port of Baltimore.
Oh, cool.
This is the first shipment of the cranes, of the post-Panamax cranes in 2012. This is the first shipment. This is a cool shot from Fort Armstead.
Okay.
At sunset, I believe. So some great stuff in here.
Cool.
So if you would like one of these calendars, go to BaltimoreShipwatchers.com. There's a merch tab. On the merch tab, you can order by just my PayPal account, or there are QR codes for PayPal and Venmo, and they're $35 shipped in the U.S. And this is one of the few fundraisers that we have for the Shipwatchers. It does cost to run the Shipwatchers. If you'd like some great pictures of the Key Bridge, and they're good enough, you can have them. You might be able to frame a couple of them the next year when you're done with your calendar.
There you go. You don't have to just chuck it and throw it away.
Right. It's a collection of Key Bridge pictures that you'll have forever.
Yep.
I thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah, it's nice that everybody was willing to participate and share the pictures that they captured.
Yes, yes. And obviously, all these pictures are used with permission. Everybody gave the okay for their pictures to be used in the calendar. I don't just grab pictures. I mean, sometimes social media or websites or organizations will have a little catch-all that says, and I think we did have that at one point. If you submit your picture or if you post a picture to the group, we can use it. But I just thought it would be better to ask
Absolutely.
folks. You don't want to surprise people with that. That's not cool.
All righty. I think that's
that it.
I think that's it. That's all that I've got for this week.
Okay. Well, we're pushing an hour here, so we are Balto Ches on Instagram, YouTube, and Twix, I like to call it.
Absolutely.
Shout out Amy Lawrence.
Does she know that she's getting the shout outs?
I don't think she watches the podcast, but I did tell her once, and I think she liked it or something, gotcha. Some time ago. So, yeah.
If you want to catch the podcast, go over to the YouTube, or if you want to listen to the audio version of it, you can listen through Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Yes. Oh, and now those links. So if you go to the website, there's also a podcast tab. And then on that page are all three links. So YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. The links are on the website, on the podcast page. You just click on it, dive right in. So it's right there for you. So you don't have to go find it.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
What do you got?
That's it.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Happy ship watching. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.
When we listen to it, it always comes out all right. It just doesn't sound good now.
Well, it was a little off. Our frequency was a little off in the middle there, but I think the beginning and the end was lined up pretty good.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Thanks for watching.
Sounds good. Everybody have a good week.